What's good, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. This is one of many uploads today. Obviously, the other one will be kind of like a re-upload a little bit later in the day, but we are keeping the same, well, not the same, but kind of keeping a promise of sorts, which was that we would give you guys kind of our insight on the Night 2 main event for this year's WrestleMania. As always, my name is PTP, and with me we have G. How you doing?
Long day, brother, but I'm good. Glad to be here.
Yeah. By the way, if I do sound a little more monotone than usual, it has been raining for 2 days straight. So it is, pardon the energy if it's anything less than what is expected. But, yeah. So, of course, like we said, I think, G, you want to go first? Or
That's up to you, brother.
yeah, you can go first. So I feel like you've kind of been in this, or at least like kind of journeyed this road before.
Okay. So to better explain to everybody what we're doing here, we're basically, or what I'm doing at least, is I'm going to predict the Night 2 main event, undisputed WWE title, Cena versus Rhodes, and the aftermath. So, okay. Obviously, we know that this is not going to be a straight up one-on-one match. It makes literally no sense for it to be that. No offense, but I don't care that Cena's a heel and, for some whatever reason, people might think, okay, well, it's an even match now because he's a heel and he's been vicious on the mic towards the fans, and he's been vicious on on Monday he was vicious on the mic towards Cody. So we've got a 50-50 shot here. No, we don't. Cena's won one match as a singles competitor in 8 years. He's still the age that he is. That is not an offense. I love Cena. He's a GOAT. He's on the Mount Rushmore probably. And he's the same age as me, so I'm not hating. But in reality, if you look at it in terms of wrestling, Cena versus Cody straight up does not work, cannot happen. Because, if Cody could go through The Rock and the Bloodline and Roman after 4 years of being unstoppable and win the undisputed title and keep the title for a year, Cena by himself isn't done. It's going to be Bloodline rules because no Roman. It doesn't make sense to be Bloodline, but it will be something similar to that. The name, I can't really say. It could be, something really stupid like, The Rock's rules or, the Final Boss rules or the Final Boss challenge, whatever. I don't know what he's going to call it. I just believe The Rock is going to appear on TV before WrestleMania to explain the why him and Cena are a team, and then basically, do call it whatever he's going to call it to stack the deck against Cody. So, whatever you want to call the match, I'll just go with the Final Boss challenge or whatever it is, because it kind of sounds like a video game and whatever. That sounds okay. In essence, it's basically a bloodline rules, no DQ, whatever goes, just to stack the deck against Cody. So anybody who can The Rock can interfere, anybody can interfere in the match to help Cena, which will happen. I'm not going to give specific names, but there will be hella interference in the match. Cody's going to take everybody's best shot, Cena's best shot. Cody's not going to give up. He's going to kick out. He's not going to fall. But at some point, Cody's going to be tired. He's going to be worn out. The Wolves are closing in on him. Comes Randy Orton. Big pop. This might not be going where you think it is, but Randy Orton comes out. He gets in the ring. He stalks John Cena. At this point, Cena's down. Cody, they're both down, or they're, wounded, however you want to look at it. Randy Orton comes out. Now, Randy Orton had just had his match with Kevin Owens, because I think it's going to be a Night 2 match, personally.
Mm-hmm.
And Orton's going to win. Orton's going to punt Owens. Orton's going to have a little bit of that vicious Viper side starting to come out. The voices. Orton's going to come out, and he's going to RKO John Cena. But then he's going to help Cody up. He's going to help Cody get up, make sure he's okay, pat him on the back, give him a hug, go ahead, go win the belt, keep your belt. And then he's going to RKO Cody too. And then, and when he does that, he's going to leave. He's not going to get beat down by anybody, or he's not going to get rock bottomed, nothing like that. He's going to RKO them both, and he's going to leave. So both guys are down, and, Rock's having a conniption fit, whatever he's doing. Maybe he's down and out too. Cena gets up first, crawls over to Cody to drape his arm on him to pin him. Ref counts. 1, 2, CM Punk's music hits. So it stops the count. Everybody's like, what the fuck's going on? CM Punk's music hits. CM Punk comes out. He comes out with Paul Heyman. He comes out to the ring with Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman talks to the announce desk and he talks to the ring announcer, and the ring announcer announces that the favor, and that's CM Punk by virtue of winning night 2, because it won't be said, or by winning the night 1 main event, it won't be said that his favor is by winning that match, and the favor that's owed to him, he's been added to the match for the title. He gets in the ring, right?
Mm-hmm.
He gets in the ring. He hits Cody with a GTS, and before he goes to pin Cody, Cena flips him around like, "What are you doing? This is my title. What are you?" CM Punk kind of smiles at him, and similar to Elimination Chamber, kind of like, shakes his hand, may the best man win. Kind of like, screw Cody, he's done. May the best man win. Shakes his hand. Behind him is The Rock. And as The Rock did at Bad Blood with 3 fingers, and then he did with Cena with 2 fingers, Rock does 1 finger, throat slit, Punk kicks Cena in the balls, picks him up, GTS, pin. CM Punk is the undisputed WWE champion. CM Punk is The Rock's chosen champion, not Cena. Cody and Cena are beaten down by Rock and Punk, Travis Scott, whoever else it is, it might be out there. They're both beaten down. Cody's destroyed, distraught, and lost his title. Cena's betrayed and screwed and was manipulated the entire time. I'm still going with that one. I understand people are going to be like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why would Cena turn heel just for, whatever, 2 months, 2.5 months, whatever it is? That's part of the point of this, is he got his heel turn. He got all that, and he did it for nothing, because The Rock got him just to get him, and realized he wasn't the guy. But the entire time, Punk trash talking to Rock was the perfect sell, so that nobody would believe that Punk was his guy, and Punk is his guy. And at the end of night 2, a distraught Cena, who's just been manipulated and played, is not the guy, and will have to start his redemption arc, not right away, because at first he's still gonna be heelish, because I think Backlash is going to be Punk Cena Part 1, but I think they're both going to get kind of tweener reactions, because Cena's going to start his redemption tour, but he's going to act heel for a little bit longer. Punk is the Rock's champion and can do whatever he wants. And then on the Friday after Mania, I don't think Cena's going to appear, but Punk and Rock will appear and tell their story of why they did what they did. Cody's going to come out, demand his title is rematch. Orton's going to come out again. He's going to make it look like he's going to RKO Punk, but he's not. He's going to RKO Cody again and then punt him. Cody will get a little bit of time off. Orton will, while Cody's out, Orton's going to tell his tale of why he did it to Cody. Cody let him down, just like The Rock. Cody let him down. Orton realized that Cody has been doing everything wrong. People like, Owens or McIntyre or whoever it is, they were right about Cody. And it took the voices in his head and what he did to Kevin Owens to make him see that Cody was wrong and Cody needs to be put down and someone else needs to take the spot. Randy's going to do it himself. And while Cody is out for, let's just say, 3 weeks to a month, Orton's going to come out and cut his promo. He's going to tell his story. And every SmackDown until Cody returns, and I predict Cody will return at Backlash because Orton will have a match with somebody and Cody will return there. But for every SmackDown leading into that, to Backlash and Cody coming back, Orton is just basically going to run out during a match involving insert, wrestler A here. Doesn't matter who it is. I'm not saying it's, top end people necessarily. I'm not saying main eventers, but just during a match, he's going to come out. Vicious Randy Orton is going to come out like he did, sort of like what he did to the New Nexus, although I'm not talking about a group per se, or like just what he used to do when he was that vicious Viper and didn't care about anybody. He's just going to come out during random matches. He's going to drop somebody with an RKO and he's going to punt him and put him out to build up that vicious heel Orton persona leading into Cody coming back. And when Cody comes back, it keeps Cody out of the title picture for a little bit. And you have your Cody Orton feud, and you have Punk as your champion, The Rock's champion, and Cena begins his redemption tour, leading up to an eventual Cena Punk part whatever. I don't know how many matches they'll do, but I think Backlash will be one of 3 to 4, possibly before the end of the year, and leading to Cena's redemption. And Cena's last match will be against Punk for the title. Cena wins and goes out the way he should, opposite of the way he said it in his promo, or has said it in his promos in the last couple of weeks. Instead of taking the belt home and anybody else who has the belt has a toy replica because he's the talent, he's the only champion, he's going to go out as the hero, not the villain, and he's going to lay the belt in the ring right off to the sunset and realize that the belt is for the people and the people were for him. You know, that heroic John Cena is the real John Cena, and he's going to go out that way, break the record. There you go.
Huh.
So in essence, Punk and Orton are both turning. That's your swerve right there. They're both turning, but they're not both with The Rock. Punk is going to be The Rock's guy, not Cena. Cena is being played and is going to be screwed over. But Orton's going to turn too to get your Orton Cody feud, and I think it's done in a good, surprising, and believable way that sets up their feud, and off you go. So you've got your SmackDown's got your summer of Punk, and you've got Orton and Cody through SummerSlam, basically. The SummerSlam will probably be the blow-off of that feud.
Okay.
If you have any commentary or anything, or any thoughts, by all means, before you go.
I was gonna process everything. That was a lot.
Okay, yeah. Well, like I said, we're going to do our draft predictions, in the next few weeks before the draft happens, but I am partially basing this on the fact that I believe that these guys are not going to be drafted. But it's also where I think it's headed. I think this is all, especially with Punk, I think it's all a swerve, and Cena's going to get screwed, and Punk has done all this talking about business and here to make money, and he wants to main event WrestleMania, but he also said he wants the title match. I think that's going to be part of the twist, and all this running down of The Rock and whatever it is, it's all part of the plan. So nobody believes that he sold his soul to The Rock, even though it's exactly something Punk would do, especially because he's all about business and not about making friends, and he wants the title, and he wants the title at WrestleMania. It all fits. And he's been running down The Rock because it's part of the plan, and nobody will see it coming. Because everybody thought before Cena did it that it would be Punk, and he didn't do it. And then he started talking trash about all of them, but that's part of the plan. It's been part of the plan all along, so that nobody would suspect that it's actually him. And that's how he's slowly worked his way and, in a sense, manipulated his way into the main event, night one. He sowed a favor, and he's going to get his favor. And his favor is going to be Heyman to Rock, and obviously Heyman's going to go to the board to get Punk added to the title match at the last minute. But since The Rock is on the board and Punk is a Rock's guy and has been, that's how they're going to reveal it, because Rock's going to be like, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, put him in the match because he's my guy. He's really my guy. So he'll be added to the match last minute, win it. He's the Rock's guy. There you go. Cinema. And you don't need 55 people interfering in the match, although I'm sure some will.
They probably will still.
Mm-hmm. But not like last year where like everybody and their cousin interfered in the match. I don't think it's going to be that big, but there will be some, of course. But that's how it's going to end. And I don't think it kills Cena's heel run at all. I don't, because we all know that it's not going to last very long. And Cena doesn't now with this. Cena needs to redeem himself and end his career on a high note. This is how you do it. He was manipulated and played. Although a lot of what he said might have been how he felt. He said it and did it all for the wrong reason, because he was played and manipulated, and then he has to slowly redeem himself. And there's your John Cena story for the next 8 months. He has to redeem himself with everybody, the fans, the people backstage, all the other wrestlers, yada, yada, yada. He's going to have to redeem himself with everybody, and he's going to have to fight, scratch, claw to earn every ounce of respect, every cheer, every person who might engage him in any way that's friendly, whatever it is. He's going to have to earn that, and it's going to be a journey for him to earn that, and then earn his way to what he really wanted, which is the number 17, but done the right way, and go out as the hero, not the villain.
The only thing I could say would be kind of the only like I guess like kind of like off-putting thing. If he
Is
had more bookings, I would see the climb being in the play, but at that point it would kind of just be
but here's the
like
thing.
it would seem like once a month it's like, oh, the crowd remembers they hate Cena again, or like people
But
backstage
here's
aren't talking to him
but
and
here's
they
the
don't see him
thing.
for like a month.
Here's the thing. I think he might appear a little bit more, and I have heard recently that the amount of dates that he could appear initially was somewhere in the 30 range,
Yeah.
right? But now I've been hearing a lot lately. I don't know if all of this information is factually correct, but what I've been hearing lately is his actual appearances is more like 30 to 40. That would give you enough appearances to tell that story. And if it's the right story and it's cinema and it's going to work out that way, I think be able to make himself available. And especially if it's 30 to 40 appearances, that's more than enough appearances to tell that story. You could do vignettes, you could do interviews, you could do pre-tape things. Like I said, with him trying to do a Make-A-Wish and they turn him down, so he's more dejected. You can do a lot of pre-tape things. You could do things where like he's on a movie set and fans are booing him and throwing stuff at him, or some mock pre-tape thing where he's at like a supposedly at like a movie premiere. You know, the movie's projected to bomb because John Cena's not a good person anymore, and fans don't want to see his movies because he's bad. There's all kinds of stuff they can do without him literally being in an arena to help work in and play the story where he's trying to redeem himself. But if the information is correct and it's actually 30, more like 30 to 40 appearances, not like 20 to 30, then you can have him appear enough to tell this story and obviously wrestle his way into earning that final match before the title and tell the story properly of his redemption, if that's right. And that's what I'm going on because I've been hearing it a lot lately. It's more like 30 to 40, which means he's got a lot of time left. Like in theory, he could appear, if that's correct, then he could appear theoretically after WrestleMania. He could appear almost 3 times a month for the rest of the year. Almost 2 to 3 times a month, every month till the year is over. And in theory, if he's going to chase 17 and he's going to redeem himself and win 17 the right way, then he could be around like December. If he's going to win it in December or whatever it is, then he'll be there the whole month. But leading up to that, he'll have enough appearances to make the story work. And like I said, you could do pre-tape things to help add to the cinematic aspect of it where he's redeeming himself and he's being shunned by Hollywood. He's being shunned by Make-A-Wish. He's being shunned backstage, which you could do at any appearance. He could literally change his clothes and pre-tape something where he walks backstage and it's like he's showing up to an arena, to an event, and people think he's there, but it was actually taped, and he shows up to the event and he's just wearing a different outfit than he was earlier, and where he makes it like he's walking into the arena and like the catering people ignore him and shake their head at him. Wrestlers in the back are shaking their head at him. Something like that, and he's so dejected and so hurt, and he's so messed up in his head because of what happened to him that he just turns around and walks away and leaves. Like he can't do it. He can't face it. He tries to face people and he can't. He's so shunned that he can't face anybody and he just turns around and leaves. You could tape that literally at one of his appearances. You can make it work, and then his victory would be pure cinema and the probably best way you could end his career. He goes out as a hero. There you go.
Okay, guess I'll take a crack at this. So at least
Looking forward
from
to
what
this.
I was, yeah. So at least from what I initially, at least what I'm hoping for. Like I said,
Okay.
hope in this case is essentially, basically, what should happen. What definitely should happen. So
Okay.
obviously, one taking into consideration, just a little bit of foreshadowing, triple threat match, Punk gets a dub. Pretty sure everybody kind of assumes that we're getting a Punk victory. Worst case scenario, you get Seth, but this ain't about Seth right now. So with night 2, say throughout the night we see Punk kind of pacing around outside one of the GM's like doors or whatever, or maybe the GMs are sharing a room. Whole time we're wondering why Punk has been sitting at the door. He's not answering anybody. Jackie Redmond walks up. It's like, yo, Punk, like you've been out here for 2 hours. You've been out here for like an hour now. Like, what's up? And he's just like, I got something in mind. You'll hear about it later. Before the match starts with Cody and Cena, they might show a little cutscene of like, oh, Paul Heyman leaving out of the GM's office.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Punk share a glance, and Paul just says to him, "Hey, it's locked in. It's done." No one really knows what's done until later in the night, later in the match. Like both Rhodes and Cena are beat up a little bit. Punk's music hits. He runs down there. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, this match is now a triple threat. Similar to, I would say, probably like how Seth did the Money in the Bank. Obviously, no briefcases involved here, but kind of like how like Roman and Brock beat the shit out of each other,
Mm-hmm.
and basically he just comes sprinting down the ramp and picks the carcass. Similar scenario here, but in
Okay.
this case, Punk does the wrong thing. He goes after Cody instead, as far as like picking him up for the GTS, because he assumes that, him knowing Cena for as long as he has, Cena probably wasn't going to give up that easily, even though he was, in this case, the villain in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Cody kicks out, match continues. Basically hyping up the crowd, being like, "Oh, Cody's not done yet." All the shenanigans, all the hoorah and everything.
Okay.
Cena comes to, attitude adjustment on Punk. We get Cena winning 17, to where Punk does get his opportunity in the main event for a championship, but it's not going to be the honeymoon ending at Mania that he has been wanting for all these years. Doesn't sound bad? A little bit. But still kind of nibbling with what you said. We still get the Summer of Punk, but in reverse. So Punk basically being the anti-hero of the story. Kind of like how he was in the past, but they hated him a little bit more because of the whole Cena was defending the company from him because he ran off with the belt. But now Cena basically just flipped the whole story on his head, and it's like, oh, well, I got the championship. I broke my record. You can forget about Ric Flair. You can forget about being the best in the world because I am the GOAT, and this is my championship now. I'm going back to Hollywood. It's over for everybody. So after that, now I feel like if anything, not to like fully give away like you said, the draft prediction or anything like that. I feel like by association, Punk eventually moves to SmackDown because there's just more driving him to be involved with the championship in any way he possibly can, even if it's not Mania per se.
Mm-hmm.
He now has more of a reason to stay on SmackDown moving forward. Let's see. I do want to say I would see a slight change in Randy's persona, but I wouldn't say as far as a full-blown heel turn. I would just kind of see it as maybe, in a weird way, Randy's kind of just in a schizophrenic type of gimmick, where before he gets into matches or altercations, he's this nice guy, he's letting the crowd sing his song or whatever, he's reminiscing on his old stories, but whenever somebody pushes his buttons, you get 09 Orton. He wants to kick people, he's foaming at the mouth. Punk is already irate. So say the night after, that SmackDown after Mania and everything, Punk's out there, he's raising a bunch of havoc, saying his BS, or not even saying his BS, but just being like, oh, I may not have got the job done, but I'll be damned if Cena takes what I did as a staple of my career and tries to make it into his own Hollywood corporate, send-off story. Randy comes out, tries to calm him down a little bit. Obviously, that does not work. Then you get somewhat heel tweener Orton versus Punk for at least the majority of the summer. I wouldn't say into SummerSlam, but at least probably say like a little bit halfway through it. Then you get that Cena Punk showdown at SummerSlam. Now this is where it kind of gets a little bit crazy because you could technically give Punk the moment as far as him winning the championship, but in this case, from what I'm thinking of it, Punk has more time. So I would say in this case, Punk loses at SummerSlam. And I think we get heel Cena for a pretty lengthy amount of time, just off the fact that in the past, when he was going to turn heel during his Rock feud, he pretty much almost said once he does it, it's not he's not really going back, because it's been 20 plus years of him being the lovable guy in his mind, to where if he was to flip the script, he would just want to go all in, full blown, because he hadn't had a chance to do that since 2003. But, yeah, and then the last thing I'll put into this, I will say, they might not do this, but it's my story here. So, I do think that inevitably one of the up-and-comers, whether it be a Carmelo Hayes, an Austin Theory, one of the upcoming guys eventually has to kind of if they were in this stable mindset to where The Rock has Cena, and then maybe there's a guy that's lingering around that wants to be that next guy, or obviously Cena's leaving at the end of the year. Who knows this? Cena knows this. It'll kind of be like an evolution thing, a passing of the torch, if you will. How Orton and Batista were waiting in the wings for once inevitably Triple H and Ric Flair were done with their reign. You pick up a young guy to learn from Cena for the next couple months, and then inevitably The Rock still has a face of the company that has way more wheels that he can use for the next umpteen years, however he feels like it.
Okay. I don't hate that. I don't actually hate that at all, especially the sort of evolution you take. I do have two questions.
Yeah.
One would be, I get what you're saying about I get what you're saying about Cena, but I mean, we know he's going to get his storybook ending. I guess my question would probably be, where is Cody in this? We know inevitably it's going to be this year, and I don't think it's going to be that far away. When do we get the code? What happens with Cody? And because of the fact that we know we're getting Cody Orton at some point soon, how does
If anything, I would say in this, because I already kind of thought about
in
Cody
this
kind of
scenario,
getting,
in this scenario, where is Cody, and do Orton in your scenario, do Orton and Cody feud anytime soon?
When this scenario, I feel like I'm giving Cody that break, more or less. And if I was to include Cody in this element of the whole situation, I'd probably say halfway through the whole Orton kind of like, split personality thing, after like maybe Punk puts it to rest, or say like Punk thinks it's over and Orton's coming out the next week and it's like, oh well, I'm not done with Punk. I'm not done with this situation. No one deserves a championship. No one deserves an opportunity at John Cena but me. I'm trying to chase history. I'm going to surpass him. Like, he's his office rocker. You have Cody come out then, kind of in a similar role to how Orton tried to be for Punk. Only difference is Orton's already out of it and just already ain't trying to hear it. Tries to little bro Cody Rhodes and everything like that, even though Cody has just been the world champion. And then you inevitably still get the Orton Rhodes thing, because Orton is now being blinded by Father Time and his quest for a championship. When all in total, Cody just wants his friend back, his mentor essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like you still get the story itself. I feel like at some point, whether it be through a full-on turn or just like Orton being desperate, because especially if he sees Cena get 17, Orton's gonna get desperate because he's gonna think, okay, well, I think I have more left in the tank than him, and I'm only like halfway, like 2 behind him in the grand scheme of things. If he's to win 17, I can either snap that or I can tie it, and it's gonna make him go mad.
Okay. I'm not hating this. I'm not hating it at all. Okay.
Yeah.
I will. I'm far different than mine.
Yeah, because if anything, like I do get Cena getting the storybook ending, like how you said. I do feel like at a certain point, like I feel like if anything, like how like as much as I dislike him, I look at it like how the Hogan thing was at Mania, where he was healed. He was healed for that entire period of like the NWO being brought back in. But slowly but surely, you could see the fans being like, okay, I'm just really glad I'm seeing him on my screen. Cena is already kind of halfway there, and it hasn't even hit Mania yet. Like, I'm pretty sure once he gets back to the States, they're going to eat up heel Cena, shitting on them, telling the kids that they're fickle. It's gonna be one of the things where he's supposed to be hated, but no one's gonna really want to hate him, depending on where they go.
No, he's
So,
gonna be cool. He's gonna be cool again. I mean, the
yeah,
UK audience Monday were starting a dueling chant, and when Cody and him were cooking each other, like they were kind of partially cheering him already. So I
yeah,
see the mindset you got there, where
yeah. Because
seeing all
they
of a
even
sudden,
cheered when he said he would take the belt and leave. They cheered
Cena's
that as
got
far as
Cena's got a little bit of the, not. I'm not saying he's gonna be. I'm not saying he could be Stone Cold Steve Austin, but he's giving off a bit of that vibe where him being vicious and like straight cooking people, not in a joking manner, is giving off a little bit of that vibe where all of a
yeah,
sudden, like, oh damn, he's cool as shit again. Now we're gonna cheer him.
yeah.
I get the logic. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and every time he's done that to people in the past, like with Roman Reigns, when he was saying, I had to come back because you couldn't do your job. That was supposed to be a face-on-face interaction, and Cena flip the switch. He kind of, before having that bad match with Theory, I'm pretty sure everybody can understand that was not their best work. He said Theory wasn't ready for any of the smoke, and I think neither of them were, if we're being honest, looking back on it. But he gave Theory that work. In theory, was supposed to be the bad guy in this scenario. So once you actually make him a bad guy and say he just has like a nice little month, like a couple of months of just like cooking the next big thing or whatever, like him and LA Knight, if they wanted to pull the trigger, like say they just want to like give Cena a lay of the land and a look into the future, and then have him just beat a lot of like some of the future guys by cheating and being just grumpy old, this grumpy old like gatekeeper. And then whoever beats him gets the biggest rub of all time because they beat the most agitated version of Cena that has ever been placed in a ring to this very point, outside of the prototype.
I mean, all right, I see where you're going, and sadly, I wouldn't call LA Knight the future only because of the late start in his age.
Yeah,
But
not in nice
but
ways, but yeah.
but he could be a name for Cena to go through, and those would probably be good promo battles too if LA Knight could really let loose. Because
Yeah.
he can go on the mic, so if he really could let loose, they could throw some stuff at each other.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because I feel like it would be like one of those times where, which is what I'm really, really thinking that they should really take the chance on. Cena should be essentially a star maker in a heel role because realistically, there are so many people that you can probably put in there with him that he would make better on the mic, and then from a psychology perspective, they would get better in ring wise, whether they're like, like I said, whether it's like a clean match or just, say it's clean for like 10 minutes and Cena gets pissed, he gets himself DQ'd. There's a lot of guys that they can add layers to and just make them, okay, like now this guy almost beat Cena with no help, or this guy took Cena to the limit, but Cena eventually edges him out. You start building guys to where after he's done, he lays the belt in the ring or whatever send off you want to give him. There's guys lining up outside of just the guys like Cody, Kevin, Knight, Fatu, Roman. Like there's more guys that you can be like, oh well, they hung with Cena, they could probably hang with anybody. And now you got a better lay of the future for whatever you want to do. Like Rumble wise, it's like back in the day there used to be like 8 people you could look at and be like, oh, I want this guy to win the Rumble. No, this guy's been winning the past couple months. He can win the Rumble. It brings that feel back to where if someone throws out a random name, it ain't gonna be like, oh, why are you saying him? Like, what has he done? This guy fought Cena, tooth and nail. Adds mystery to it.
I don't hate your idealism in this for sure, and the idea of people, him being a star, him this being able to do what he has done in the past. Although, yes, there are instances where I suppose Cena buried people, but Cena's also been the guy that's like, because he was like Vince's guy, so he whatever Vince wanted him to do, he did. Even if right or wrong or indifferent, he did whatever Vince wanted. So maybe when he quote unquote buried the Nexus, well, the Nexus thing wasn't really working anyway. So, but you have to think of other things like, trying to put over Carlito like day one. Well, it's not his fault that Carlito didn't become like a major star. It's not Cena's fault. Cena did his job. Cena made The Miz.
Yeah, but I mean, the biggest win ever.
Pretty much at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So I mean,
shoot, it's the stuff with Umaga. Umaga was like, he made Umaga look great for the period that they were feuding. It's a lot of things that, and then plus it would just kind of seem like also kind of similar to how it all started. Like he went out there and like in his rookie year went out there and slapped Kurt Angle. If he's able to give someone else a similar kind of like renaissance, where like say it's like a guy from, I'm not gonna like go too in depth because now that I think about it, there's a lot of ways I could take this. But say there's a guy from NXT that they really want to like put a stamp on him.
Trick Williams. That's the first name that comes to mind.
Yeah,
Trick Williams.
It's like at that point, like you could throw a guy from NXT out there. Say they get drafted. Wink, wink. Have seen it. They're trying to rip and be like, there's nobody back there with the balls to step to the GOAT. Somebody goes out there, slaps the taste out his mouth. Now the ball gets rolling. And people have to pay attention to whoever you put in front of them because it's like, oh, we know Cena wants to work with this guy. We know he approved of it, and he's walking up to the top dog. Gives you a fresh start and a peek into the future.
I like this. It's idealistic. It probably won't happen, but I like it in that sense. I like it.
Because in the grand scheme, I feel like that's what it should be. Granted, it probably would be. I hope they don't make it too circusy. I hope they don't make it like kind of like a novella where it's like, you think one turn was right here, and then wham, there's another one right here, and then, oh, wait a minute, it wasn't the chef, it was the mailman. I want it to be, like, too crazy.
Huh, okay, I like it. It's idealistic, and it would be beneficial to a great many people, but...
Yeah, but I do see the benefits in both, though. Because I feel like with yours, it's like they would get a lot of, like, airtime out of the dates that he has, and they could do a lot of stuff, like, cinematically outside the ring. Plus, you get heel Orton, even though it's in a separate entity. You would still get heel Orton.
Well, I initially, my what if scenario, I did have a scenario in my mind where it wasn't Punk and it was Orton because it would make sense. And then, with, not to bite on your idea, but Orton, Cena, Rock, because Orton could carry the load when Cena's not there
Right.
as like the voice of the group or whatever it is. And then to bite off that, you could add somebody to them, like somebody younger who just gets the rub being standing next to those guys. And then you
Right.
could you could have your Summer of Punk in that scenario, part two, where Punk is just he's still the like super. He probably takes over in a sense. He takes over Cody's spot as like the number one baby face and the most cheered baby face because this is pissed off Summer of Punk, CM Punk, where he goes after everybody and he's mad and he's pissed because he got screwed and he goes after all of them. I could see it.
Or
Sure.
like Rage Against the Machine type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And that's the beauty of it, because I mean, if anything, they have like in avenues, but I mean, there are obviously ones that, I mean, like how we kind of just laid out. There are some options that seem way more appealing than others, but
I like it.
yeah,
I like them both. I would have no problem with either.
yeah. The idea
The
of
only
them doing
thing
like, did they ever do Impress though, and like having the people like shun him in public? That does seem kind of funny. Like now that I think about it.
I think that would work. You could pre-tape that stuff where like he's at a movie premiere or something, and people are booing him and throwing stuff at him, and there's fake news outlets. No Trump. We're not talking about that. No politics here, but like there are made up news outlets where it's like John Cena's new movie is going to bomb, or the projections for the money it makes are dropping by the second because everybody hates John Cena now and nobody wants to hire him for movies. You could do little things like that. Like I said, the Make-A-Wish thing where he wants to grant a Make-A-Wish even though he's begrudgingly doing it because he's a heel now and he's kind of fucked the kids. But he goes to do but if he gets screwed, he wants to go do a Make-A-Wish, and because the kid initially requested him and he had said no, but he decides he decides to do it, but the kid goes with his next choice, and when John Cena shows up to grant the Make-A-Wish, the kid doesn't want him, or he cries or something like that. You get those little layers peeling off where Cena feels more and more guilt for what he did. Like, why did I do this? How did I allow myself to do this to them? And even if part of it was the truth and it was really on his mind and it did hurt him that he was the hero and the face of the company and all this type of stuff, and then they just sort of turned on him slowly but surely. A portion of the fan base turned on him and booed him no matter what he did, and that did hurt him. So some of those heel promo feelings and words that he said were real because it was hurt, it was pain, and he felt like, why would you do this to me for what I've done for you? So it's valid both as a heel and as a babyface. Like, why would you do this to me? But it's something he never said before until now. But he's been screwed, and now you peel the layers off of him emotionally where like a movie thing goes bad, or like the locker room shuns him. Stu, the cameraman that he loves, because every time he comes out, he talks to Stu. Stu don't want no part of him. The Make-A-Wish kids don't want any part of him. The people backstage don't want any part of him because it's like this is not John Cena. This is not like half the locker room's hero or half the locker room's guy that they watch as kids that got them into the wrestling business, and he did. That's what he became. All of those things can build the cinema and peel the layers back off to where he's basically like raw, and he's like remoldable, and he starts to mold himself back into that what he always was, and how he should end as the hero that everybody deserves, and he wins 17 the right way and goes out the right way as the hero that everybody deserves, and the model of what wrestling should be, what a hard worker should be, what a champion should be, what a good guy should be, and then somebody that everybody loves. He has to peel back the layers, be raw, and then work himself back to that and end as the hero. And your scenario is more than fine. It would just be like, well, when does that end, and how does he like flip it? And then how would he go out as the good guy again? Because he's not going. I don't care what anybody says, and he can say whatever he wants as a heel now, or even like say, I've wanted to do this forever, and I want to like make this a thing, and I want to see where it goes, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, John Cena is not retiring as a heel. He's just not. He's not going to retire as a heel. He's going to retire as a babyface. It's just how do you get there? He's not going to retire. He's not going to retire like this. What we've seen right now, however long it does last. This is not how he's going out. He's going to go out as the beloved, like quote unquote, as the GOAT or Mount Rushmore or whatever guy or wherever it is however people want to view him or they consider him in the pantheon of wrestling. He's going out as the good guy, as the hero. It's just how do you get there? In your scenario, just like hypothetically, nothing long-winded, but like in your scenario, how does he maybe get there? That would be my other question. Other than maybe Orton and Cody, where do we get to that? But like in your scenario, where does that lead Cena in terms of turning back and like going out? You don't have to give details, but like just a little, because I would think you probably thought about that a little bit. Like, okay, well, how does Cena go back in that scenario?
I mean, if anything, I couldn't really think of like an example because there was like a certain like feud or whatever where, like, I guess like both were technically like one was heel, one was face, and I think like by the end of the match, I'm probably thinking of like a New Japan feud that for the life of me I can't really remember, but it was kind of one of those things where and this is far-fetched for the E, but I'm gonna just do it anyway. Through the eye of combat, or through the fire of combat, I would say, inevitably the guy that dethrones him, since Cena has pretty much done all these things, there's still people that obviously are going to look up to him and still say, okay, it was an honor to be in the ring with any form of John Cena, whether it be good or bad. Like say like they have like a handshake center of the ring, Cena standing there looking at the crowd, because obviously this would like if I'm guessing around like say like November, December, obviously because this is his last year.
Yep.
If he looks at the crowd and everybody's like, oh, thank you, Cena, like we know this is the last run. It's almost like everybody essentially will bury the hatchet for him. Whereas he went in snarky, all this and that, but the emotion of knowing that this is the last time we will get to see him in a ring will definitely probably make him go out on top, barring any turn, I would say. So inevitably he still gets his flowers, but just through a really good match, or through a match with ups and downs, rather than him having to, I guess, earn their trust back. Because he really never lost it.
To some degree, that's true.
At least in the lay of the land. Because, I mean, there's going to be people that are probably, like, really invested in it. Or like, oh, how could you do this? I had a spinner belt when I was 8. I mean, like, I get that. But for the ones that, like, are kind of just seeing him for who he is and how he wanted to do this for so long, when they say this is his last match, they're not going to care what he did. They're not going to care what he said to that kid in Scotland. They're not going to care probably what he did to Cody at the Chamber. They're going to think, dang, that's one person from my childhood another person from my childhood that is retired alongside Triple H.
Possibly.
In a bunch
very
of
well could. Could be.
I feel like that could be the thing.
Yeah, I mean that's a fine way to go out. I think I guess my scenario is more storybook redemption based.
It is more of the more cinematic, like
the more triumphant hero going on as the triumphant hero and getting his 17th that way as a triumphant hero, and in the opposite sense of, well, I'm going to take the title and I'm going to leave, and whoever's the quote unquote champion after that, it's just going to be a toy, a replica, because I'm going to be the only champion. I'm going to be the real champion. But opposite of that, the redemption and going out as the hero, instead of taking the title with him as the real John Cena, the hero John Cena would be about the fans and about the company and about the future. And he would just lay the title in the ring and leave it for the next champion, because that's the proper way to do it. Because the belt and the fans and the company and the future of it means more than selfish need. So he just lays the belt in the ring and leaves. Kind of like The Undertaker when he was done, like he left the stuff in the ring and it just leaves.
Oh yeah, I think even Triple H did. He left his boots in there.
Cena lays the belt down and like maybe his hat or something, or part of whatever he's wearing, he like leaves it in the ring and walks away to the adoration of the crowd as the hero. And basically, it's like, I did it. I got my record. I went out as the hero. Everybody loves me. I'm done. Thank you. I love you all. And he just leaves it there in the ring and walks away and basically saying, I got it. I'm done. I'm giving it up. This is for you and whoever's next. That to me is the storybook ending. And then, like I said, they can go whatever route they want to go to determine who the champion is. Obviously, the Rumble would be the best way to do it. And then, like I said, there are multiple scenarios. Like the Rumble winner is the undisputed champion. And then, the runner-up gets one of the 2 title shots along with the chamber winner. Whoever the last one eliminated is gets a title shot. Doesn't mean they go for the person after the person who won it. They could go after the other one, and then the chamber winner goes after who wins the Rumble, depending on how they want to book it. But you could do that. Or the last 2 guys in the ring, whatever. There's a lot of ways they could do it, but that's the way that would be most logical in that scenario. If Cena wins it right at the end and relinquishes it, the winner of the Rumble gets the undisputed title, and then maybe like the last person left gets what the normal Rumble winner would get, which is a title shot, but not necessarily at the guy who eliminated him necessarily. It could be the other champion, depending on who it is, and then the chamber winner gets the other title shot, and there you go, and you book next year's Mania, which I believe is going to be headlined by Rock Roman, and probably for the title. Probably for the title. Wouldn't shock me if it's for the title. Doesn't have to be, but doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be. Could be. I could see it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But yeah. I think that might wrap that up for us in this
Yep.
this installment. As always, once again, because I'm gonna have to try to move some stuff around. But as always, subscribe. We are on the rise, of course.
Yep.
Notice it's
Like,
things with the numbers, but
comment. Whoever's listening, please comment. Listen to
Yeah,
what
they,
our ideas are. Tell us we're stupid. Tell us it makes no sense, or tell us that we're geniuses. We're geniuses and should write Hollywood scripts. Whatever it is you want to say, say. We want to know what you think.
Comment down below if you make it to the end of the video. In this case, it's like if you had to choose a story that you yourself would want to see. Between the 2 of us, which story or which ending in further future layout would you like to see more? Let us know down in the comments. I would love to see what you guys opinions are on it. Yeah. As always, of course, you can find the episodes for the regular podcast on YouTube and streaming platforms such as Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And yeah, I think that wraps up this video. We'll see you guys on Friday.
Yes, for SmackDown Live. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Peace.
Peace.